Welcome to the President's Desk, a podcast, simulcast, and radio program that airs on 96.9 KGPC and Peralta Television, where Laney College President Dr. Rudy Besikoff speaks with community members, colleagues, and student leaders. This podcast is supported by Technical Director Felicia Bridges, who co-hosts along with Laney College journalism major Randy Cross and Laney College President Dr. Rudy Besikoff.
Pull up a chair and join me, Randy, and Felicia at the President's Desk today as we welcome Mr. Kim Jones, Director of Oakland Adult and Career Education. The show airs, as always, at 2 a.m. and 2 p.m. on FM 96.9 KGPC each Wednesday and can be seen Sundays from 1 to 2 p.m. on Peralta TV. Can't catch us at those times? No problem. All our episodes are available on demand at kgpc969.org, the beacon among websites, along with great programs such as the Merit Hour that can also be heard at KGPC. As always, the President's Desk can also be heard on Apple Podcasts and on iHeartRadio. But you know what? There's so much more, Randy, isn't there? How else can our listeners engage?
Yes, all Pres Desk fans, you can email us at laneypodcast@peralta.edu. Like us on Facebook at Laney College President's Desk Podcast, and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Laney Podcast. You can also find selected interviews and content from the show on YouTube by subscribing to Laney College President's Desk channel.
I'm Rudy Besikoff, president of Laney College, a pillar that has been serving the greater Oakland community since 1927 and has been known as Laney now for more than 65 years. Like so many things with the President's Office, my work is the result of a great team. In addition to co-hosts Felicia and Randy, Arlene Lontock books guests for us, with Raya Zion serving as a show contributor and occasional in-studio guest as well. But getting things kicked off today as the summer guardian of FM radio is Felicia Bridges. Felicia, how are you?
Oh my gosh, summer guardian of FM radio. I love it.
Well, as you know, I did try to encroach the studios here at KGPC and was told to leave at certain points. So you're definitely doing your job.
Well, how are you doing, Rudy?
I'm doing okay.
Good.
Doing well. Summer's gone well. Fired up, ready for the semester to begin. Last Saturday, we had One Stop Saturday at Laney and registered over 100 students from the community, new students, and we're going to be doing the same thing on the 19th after the show airs, and just semester starts on the 21st, and a lot of great things happening.
I catch BART a lot, and I have seen Laney Fall is Free all over Oakland.
One would hope so. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Randy, how are things going with you as you're gearing up for the start of the semester?
Good. I'm excited. Get started on Monday. I will be managing editor of The Citizen starting the semester.
All right. Okay, so hopefully I don't get misquoted too many times, but I think the misquotes would be my fault though. So I don't know. Felicia, I got to ask, as the school year begins, what kind of stuff do you do to gear up, especially as the station manager here?
Well, I sort of clean up the programming. I also tweak the schedule a bit and focus on programs that are conducive for studying and just for self-improvement. So those programs get a particular
is
profile.
Is this program conducive?
Yes, it is.
Oh, good. I'm glad
Very
to
important.
hear that.
Lots of information.
Right. So, Randy, definitely you're a professional student this time of year as you're gearing up. Any good practices? Anything you do?
Yeah, I definitely like the weekend before. I like to do some self-care. Mm-hmm. Make sure everything at home is ready to go. Laundry's done. Meal plans. I try to do a meal plan. Just so as during the week, Monday through Friday, I can just focus on school, so I can focus on school and work. How do you prepare?
Well, this is going to be kind of a strange thing, but it seems like at the beginning of every school year, even now as an administrator, I buy a new pair of socks. I get new socks. Yeah. So Anyway, I think this is.
That's a
Just one
that's
pair?
a good
Well,
thing.
no, actually, I get the.
That's a good thing. The
Yeah.
socks.
I get and washing them also obviously, but no, I usually get the gold toe. I get a pack of 4 or whatever they have. So, and I think footwear and preparing for the new year is the perfect opportunity to welcome in our guest, Mr. Kim Jones. Before we get started, this time of year, you're a professional in education. What's kind of some of your rights of the new school year? What do you do to kind of get ready?
Thank you, Doc, for having me here. Thank you guys for inviting me. I just have to ask you: do you have any superstitions around the gold toes, or do you wash them?
Well, after the 10th time, no, that's not true. No, I usually wash them before I wear them. That's the only thing.
Yeah. So to prepare for the new year, I think for me, one of the things is just to get some downtime because I'm so excited about it. That as we gear up for it, sometimes I can't think about anything else. So I need to, just get a little downtime, some vacation time, whatever, to gear up. And this year was really special for us. So
Well, that's
excited.
good. So, Mr. Jones, may I call you Kim?
Absolutely.
All right, in this space, please call me Rudy, by all means. But tell us a little bit about Oakland Adult and Career Ed, just maybe for our listeners who've never heard of it.
So Oakland Adult and Career Education, we are 150 plus years old. We've been serving the Oakland community. Yes, we had a big celebration back in October, but we serve all communities. We are in, I believe, don't quote me on this, Oakland, but we're in 10, I believe, OUSD sites, and then we're at FedEx at the airport. We're at Laney College.
That's right. We'll talk about that a little bit, too.
We are at several different locations around Oakland. We work in close partnership with some of our community members, Lau Family and Unity Council and such.
My favorite restaurant growing up had on the wall pictures from when they opened in 1925. You mentioned over 150 years of existence. Any kind of artifacts, anything that one might find that's still around, photos or drawings or whatever?
Absolutely. In my office, I have boxes of old programs, of old graduation photos, pictures of different facilities that we were in back in the day. And over our Edward Shands facility, I believe it's over on Church Street. That was one of the first, if not the first, school built just for adults, and probably the first community school that we enjoyed.
And do you know how many were in attendance at that time? Like first group of
Well,
students?
I don't know exactly, but I do know at some point in the late 80s, early 90s, Oakland Adult was serving somewhere around 10,000 students per year. Yeah.
Randy, just so you know, my kids would be asking me if I was part of the first graduating class. Excellent. So what are some things that adult learners have access to?
Through us, adult learners, first of all of our programs are free. And so we offer our basic ESL programming with the different levels of ESL, of course, for our language learners. But we also offer a college and career readiness ESL that's geared toward transitioning to college or to careers as a component. Another thing that we offer in ways of ESL is we actually have a mobile classroom that is about digital literacy and family literacy. So it's communicating with your child's school, with the school administration, making sure that parents are involved in the school, and also teaching them how to access those services via the internet or email and things like that. But that's just our ESL. We also have, of course, high school diploma credit recovery for those that need to. We often get students from OUSD K-12 high schools to come to us, get those 8 or 10 credits they need to graduate. And then we have our job training programs, the banking program that we'll talk about when we talk about Laney College. I know Rudy's excited about that.
Absolutely.
But we now just recently inked a contract with District 16, which is the finishing unions for construction. That's 5 different unions. We built a pre-apprenticeship. We'll start that in October.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and we are working with City of Oakland to do some work in, your typical adult ed services. Yeah, we have our cybersecurity program, which is probably my favorite thing that we have going.
Wow. So many things going on. It's amazing. Backing up to the ESL, just for students who English may not be their first language, you mentioned the career readiness courses. Now, obviously, when a lot of people think of English as a second language, they think of learning the vocabulary you need. Maybe it's just on the outside. But what are some additional supports that students in that program receive to help them apply for jobs or get started in the workplace?
Yes, thank you. That's a good question. I'm glad you asked. We actually have a transition specialist who works one-on-one with students, but we also have opportunities for those students to meet different organizations in the community that can help them with job search, job preparedness, and we can help with resumes and that kind of thing. But one of the things that we're really excited about now is building bridge classes for ESL students to get the language up to par to take advantage of some of our job training programs. So that will be a real opportunity for our ESL students.
Oh, that's amazing.
Kim, what is the typical program of students that you come across? What's their profile? I mean, what kind of background do they have?
Yes, our typical student is usually, first of all, about 70%, 700 out of the 1,000 students we served, maybe last year, give or take a few, are Spanish speakers. And we get a lot of students who are low income, new to the country, undocumented, and we turn nobody away. Part of our mission is to bring the classes and bring the services to the people. And so we try to serve everybody, but our typical student is someone who needs diploma, and they may have a diploma in their own country. I was really proud to hear at our last BankWorks graduation, we had 2 students that had master's degrees already.
Oh, wow.
Amazing.
Which is exciting. So
yes.
our typical student is, new to the country, needs a high school diploma, language, and job support. And so we like to think that we provide the tools, the resources, and support for those students. Yeah.
Do you speak Spanish?
I wish. She's going to start me to lying in public.
President Rudy, do you speak Spanish?
Sí, hablo un poquito.
Yeah.
Un
poquito.
Yeah, no.
What language
También.
did you take?
Pardon?
What language did you take in school?
Oh, gosh. High school and college, I took French, and then I lived in Japan for almost 4 years, so I learned Japanese, and I do speak some Spanish.
Felicia, how about you?
I speak a little Spanish, un poquito, and also Arabic. I read Arabic
Oh, wow.
and write it, but speaking is a little bit more difficult for me.
I speak a little Spanish, and actually the language I took in school was American Sign Language.
ASL. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. So we've got some power linguists in the room. Sounds
Absolutely.
great. So, Kim, I also, just looking at your website, actually, before I get to that question, you mentioned the Spanish-speaking population and having English language learning needs. What is the challenge? Could you tell us a little bit about the challenge of getting the message about adult ed and all the resources that it has, Oakland Adult Ed, to the Spanish-speaking population? And I'm coming from this as someone who's lived in other countries, maybe not necessarily spoken the language fluently, and not access them, and that I didn't access the media regularly. What's the challenge like of outreaching to them?
Yeah, again, that's a very good question. One of the things, particularly coming out of COVID, one of the things that we discussed as a staff was building trust, right? We have to get people to trust to come back to class, to come into school. And so part of the way we do that, build that trust is with community and relationship building. But we find as much advertising as we do and outreach we do, word of mouth is where our students come from. So we try to make sure that we're serving the students properly so that they can go home and tell their families. That's where most of our outreach is done is word of mouth. The challenges are trust. Even if, our adult students have barriers, transportation, childcare, and that thing. So, yeah, so sometimes we have to teach them just to get around how to even get to the class. So,
Well, I know Randy has something very important to say, but before we get to her, I'll just share that during my 7 years teaching full-time at Long Beach City College, teaching ESL, all 7 years I had somebody from the same family, a relative or someone in one of my classes each semester.
yeah.
And you are listening to The President's Desk, heard on 96.9 KGPC, and visit us at kgpc969.org.
Excellent. So looking at your website, Kim, I also noticed that you have pre-apprenticeship math. And I even saw it had its own icon and everything. Could you tell our listeners about that?
Yes. Thank you. The pre-apprenticeship math is it's a great program. Some of the local unions, the electricians, I forget the numbers, pipe fitters, plumbers, sprinkler fitters, they require that you take a math test before you can enter. And so what we have done is built a curriculum around that test. And so twice a week, students come in and study for that test. But not only do they study for that test, we have representatives from those unions come in and do mock interviews, show them, what it's like to be an electrician or a plumber for a day, and schedule field trips for them and that kind of thing. So that class is geared up for getting people into the building trades. However, we are reimagining that class and making it more of a pre-apprenticeship class that someone who wants to get into any trade, whether it be building trade or finishing trade, they'll be able to do it through that class, where we'll add OSHA certifications and tool handling, safety, and those kinds of things to that class, so that to give just to give the student a real gambit of skills before they even arrive at the unions.
That's amazing. So I saw it and I thought, well, math is math. That was kind of,
it's
and
not.
then I kind of recoiled like I usually do when I hear the word math. But, and then after which, if anything's over 10, of course, I take off my shoes. But with that being said, though, just, I don't know, college algebra, geometry, and then pre-apprenticeship math. What?
It's pre-apprenticeship math is very basic math.
Okay.
In fact, I don't believe there's any algebra involved. However, there is some geometry involved.
Right?
Yeah, because I think I could do it. It's there's a geometry involved, but what's really important about that is relevant to the construction industry. Mm-hmm. So you're learning math and mechanical reasoning hand in hand, and how to use the math, to your advantage. And so, yeah, that's the difference. It's not really, it's actually a basic math class, but the geometry piece and the relevance to construction makes it different.
No, and just jokingly, I kind of did aw shucks on the math thing there for a minute.
Are there any other apprentice programs that you kind of prep for? For example, I know that there's one at East Bay Mud. Is there any program or class geared for that apprenticeship program?
Not yet. We are, when I came to Oakland a few years ago, we had no apprenticeship, no job training programs or any of those things, and we built those over the last couple of years. And with our the momentum that we've built in the time that we've done it, we're getting more access to different companies and different organizations to build those programs out. One of the things that we're trying to do is to flip the script kind of on how people get employed, as opposed to going through a program for 9 months, 6 months, whatever, and then get employed. We're trying to make that a short-term, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, then get you employed. But have you continue the education, you could still go for the 2 years. Yeah.
No, and that is amazing, and it actually resonates with what we do at Laney, because a lot of the time, and I think back to our April career open house that we had on campus, employers are telling us, we want your students, but we want your students to stay in school and finish their programs while they're working with us. So I think that's something that's amazing. Going back to the math for a minute, I guess I'm stuck on math. But
He's stuck on problem 7.
Right.
I know that I kind of I aw-shucksed my way through my question and made a self-effacing joke about taking off my shoes. But the truth is that there is a lot of merit in what you've said about the value of it. And you touched on, with geometry, inductive and deductive reasoning and logic and a number of those things. And Randy, I'm kind of looking your way as a student journalist. I'll bet when you ask questions, you fall back on some of that reasoning when trying to draw conclusions and ask questions. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I do. It's actually very helpful for me. Like as far as the critical thinking and
Yeah,
definitely
and
go back on that.
Kim, I don't know if you face this problem. I know in community colleges we often have this challenge, is that when we look at math, it's not so much, there is, of course, the success rates and percentage of students who pass math. But one of the challenges we have is getting students to actually be willing to sign up for math and to engage. Is there anything in adult ed that you do to kind of encourage students to say pre-apprenticeship math? Of course, there is the exam, but it's okay. You can do this. What kinds of things do you do?
Yeah. First of all, there's such a high stake class for them, right? And that is so much at stake. It's kind of, it helps us to get them motivated. But we have very skilled teachers, and we provide additional support for students. And one of the things I explain to students is I taught math. I taught summer school math. So, but anyway, was to show students that it's not that you don't know the math. You just have some missing pieces of the puzzle, because maybe you were at class on Tuesday, you skipped out on Wednesday and Thursday, you came back on Friday. So you missed some pieces there. And so as a math instructor, it's our job to try to help you find those pieces so that you can put the puzzle together. But, I think the encouragement is to let them know that they do know math. They can learn math.
Sure.
Yeah, they do. You ask them if they can count money, they know that. Right? So they know math, right? So,
all right, Felicia and Randy, just to let you know, when I woke up this morning, I did not say, "Gee, I want to talk about math today." That was not. But, our conversations
I didn't expect to be talking about math either.
Yeah. So anyway, I kind of got the signal. Let's move on. No, I'm just kidding. But, you did touch on something. You talked about kind of information competency, technology literacy, all of those things, and you mentioned just what you're offering to the families. If I were to close my eyes, could you describe what the resources look like for that part of what you offer?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go back to the beginning of this. When COVID happened, everybody had to be computer literate all of a sudden, right? We were already encouraging our students to use computers, but since then, we're able to supply each student with a computer and a hotspot if they need it.
Oh, wow.
We've given workshops and have tutorials in different languages for students. And so we're able to translate different tutorials for them.
Besides Spanish, what are some of the other languages that are offered?
Oh, man, we did our workshops in Chinese, Arabic, Spanish, and English, so they would vary. Okay. But I think there's quite a few languages that are present at our school.
So you have like translators that do all these workshops for you, that work with you? Or work
yes,
at
we haven't
school?
done the workshops in a while because we're back in person now. But yeah, we have OUSD has translators, and we have a new software we've been trying out, and works okay for us. But yeah, we have translators that we use for that.
How are you finding that adult learners that you serve are the most challenged when it comes to technology? What is the major obstacle for them?
Access.
Okay.
We have people who just simply never had access. And so, and the flip side of that is, we all have phones, and so in my mind, we all have access. But we have to think about a couple of things. One, the new digital divide. Right. We call it a new digital divide because now we all have access. We used to say, no, those kids in Richmond and those kids in East Oakland don't have access. They do now. But the digital divide now is that we're using technology for entertainment, and the others are using it for education. So what we're trying to do at OACE is to bridge that gap, to turn our students from being just consumers of technology to producers of technology. So we've incorporated a cybersecurity program where students can get Microsoft and Cisco certifications and those kinds of things and really become producers of the technology as opposed to just being consumers and using it for entertainment.
And that very much in all of education, just having taught educational technology myself, that really is the direction of today's student, that they're producing, they're creating. Whereas as opposed to, for example, me as a student, I was more in the passive learner, responding and doing things like that, especially with technology.
Right. And the other thing I want to mention real quick about technology is we have to stop looking at digital literacy as some, linear thing. As some, you do this and then you do that and then you become literate, and that's not how it works, because people come with their own set of skills, their own thinking, and their own unique backgrounds. And so digital literacy should be looked at as an individual thing and more of a loop, like more of a, hey, we can accomplish these things. You already know this. Let's accomplish the next thing. But it's not just this linear thing that we thought it was.
I like that approach, because as someone who just loves to learn language, I find that my learning of language is about me kind of incorporating what I already know and learning that language. Now I have a question.
Okay. I had a feeling I was going to have to answer some questions.
We're going to put you on the hot spot here.
That's right.
How do you get the word out to all your students, to potential students? How do you reach them?
We've been using, we have our partners, Laney and our consortium, and just blasting it out to our former students, and we have recently re-engaged with marketing. We have some commercials running on radio and TV. We have ads at DMV actually. So while you're sitting there for 4 hours to get your driver's license, you get to see those ads.
I was going to ask also, speaking of access, do you guys promote on Instagram or Facebook or?
We do we're doing more of that. In fact, we just had a meeting this week about doing more of that, but we hadn't had the capacity to do that. Right? We're such a, we're growing so fast with such a small capacity, but now we have built more capacity. So we'll this year we'll have more of a presence on social media. Absolutely.
That's great. Kim, we're going to step away and do a little business, but can you stick around for a little bit more to talk with us?
Absolutely, man. At the rate you guys are paying me, man, I'll be here every day.
Wait a minute. Felicia, compensation for people that are doing radio? I never got that memo.
Right. Where's that check at?
Yeah. Oh, boy.
I'm looking for mine, too.
I was like, who's paying for it?
Yeah. Randy, I think we need to talk to Felicia after the show. I definitely do need to say that. So, as we transition at this point in the show, I will remind our listeners that Laney College does provide one-time support scholarships for students who are facing unforeseen financial difficulties that impact their ability to attend school. This source is called the President's Emergency Scholarship Fund. And if you are a student facing difficulties, please contact Arlene Lontock in my office at 510-464-3219, or you can email her at alontock@peralta.edu. Also, to our employees and community members and listeners around the state, this is just a reminder that any and all charitable gifts to Laney College are tax deductible and processed through the Peralta College's foundation, which is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Kim, I told you I was doing business here. To donate, please call us at 510-464-3219 or email Arlene at alontock@peralta.edu. But you know what? Often when you make a gift, you want to know more about it. Maybe you want more information. Maybe you have questions. And for that, please reach out directly to me. You can email me at rbesikof@peralta.edu. Or better yet, if you want to pick up the phone and talk, please call me at 510-464-3236. And to our employees, it is possible to donate by a one-time payment, or if you wish, you can designate an amount for a monthly payroll deduction, and all of that is tax deductible. Anyway, Felicia, joining us by phone, but always close by for our Partners of Laney feature is Raya Zion, who will acquaint our listeners with one great industry partner who offers internships or other opportunities for students, as well as opportunities on campus. Raya, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you guys over there?
Hey, Raya, how are you?
I'm good.
I heard.
I had it. I had it.
Okay,
She
so
was there.
Raya,
I'll take her off speaker.
so Raya, what do you have for us today?
Well, I have actually two great employers that I spoke with today. Today we had a special event and East Bay Mud came by, as well as the Asian Health Services, and they're both looking for people with customer service skills. The East Bay Mud representative spoke about the call center customer service positions that they have open. And they do a lot of times require people with customer service skills, but that are bilingual, whether it is Cantonese, Mandarin, Dari, a variety of languages. So they're actively seeking customer service personnel as well as administrative assistants. There is a position open right now for administrative assistant and customer service positions at East Bay Mud.
We were just talking about multilingual, so it sounds like they're looking for multilingual people.
Yeah, actually, both those companies, East Bay Mud and the Asian Health Services, are both looking for multilingual people. With East Bay Mud, of course, people should just look at eastbaymud.org and apply for a job over there. The other organization.
How can listeners get in touch? How do they get
so
take advantage of this opportunity?
They need to look at the East Bay Mud website or call East Bay Mud or just contact me and I would connect them with the representative. The gentleman that spoke today, his name is Vincent James. His email is vincent.james@ebmud.com. So vincent.james@ebmud.com. And he was a recruiter that spoke to our group today. They're looking for administrative assistants for customer service. So they have a great career pathway at East Bay Mud once you get in. The other organization that spoke today was Asian Health Services, and they are actively recruiting medical assistants. But what really intrigued me was the health navigators. A lot of times people in the community may not speak English or may not know how to navigate around the healthcare system. So they have positions that are multilingual, whether, again, Cantonese, Mandarin, Dari, Arabic, Spanish, to help people navigate through the healthcare system. And they're called healthcare navigators. On a side note, if I may, more of a community announcement. On August 26th, the Chinatown Chamber of Commerce will be holding its Summerfest, their big street fest, and they're looking for volunteers. So if we have anyone out there that likes to volunteer or may not be able to work but would like to do something for the community, they are looking for people. So someone that is interested would contact the Chinatown Chamber of Commerce.
That sounds great. I have a quick question in regards to the health navigators. What does that entail? Are they going out in the community and interviewing people? What does that involve?
That would include, go ahead, Kim has the answer, it sounds like. Go ahead, Kim.
Oh, no, I wasn't going to answer that.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Ryan.
It wouldn't go. No, they would not go out into the community to interview. They would be possibly meeting people, helping them navigate. So you're not really interviewing, let's say someone who is monolingual, another language, needs help to go to the doctor and may not understand what the doctor wants them to do, what the next step in the healing process is. So the person would either go with them or maybe answer a phone call from them to help and help them understand the process and translate for them.
Oh, okay.
A lot of times, even as English speakers, we go to our medical appointments or we have to listen to instructions over the phone, and we don't really understand what's going on. So this healthcare navigator helps people navigate in the system.
Oh, thank you for that clarification.
Sure,
Well, Raya,
sure.
thank you. You are a gem for providing that information.
Yeah.
And keep doing what you do.
All right. Thank you. You too. All of you. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You are listening to the President's Desk podcast, heard on 96.9 KGPC. Also visit us online at kgpc969.org.
All right. So as we return, and always appreciate Raya for her contributions to the show. Randy, you mentioned that not all the classes that you're going to be taking will start on August 21st. What is, just as far as your timetable, what's going on?
Yeah, so I believe Monday I will be starting 3 classes, and then I have 2 classes that will start mid-semester in October.
Yeah, and just a great reminder to our listeners, especially students, that basically in September we have a second start date for classes. Those are 14 weeks in length. And then starting on October 16th, we usually run about 50 to 60 classes that run 8 weeks only. So there are lots of opportunities available, even if you can't get fully dialed in on our first day of classes, which is the 21st. Excellent opportunity now, talking about Laney and everything, to bring Mr. Kim Jones back into our show. Kim, could you tell us a little bit about the relationship with Laney College in your office?
Man, the relationship with Laney College in my office, I think since day one, me coming to Oakland, we talked about, how do we strengthen that relationship between Laney College and OACE. And for the last couple of years, it's been awesome. One of the things that we've done is we've solidified our GED program here. And so we're able to provide on Laney's campus Spanish, HSC, high school equivalency, GED, and HiSET, as well as English.
No, it's amazing you mentioned GED, and I'd like to talk about that for a second, because when I joined Laney College a little more than 5 years ago, there really wasn't GED. Can you talk about how that's grown a little bit?
Oh, yeah, it's grown. We initially, when I think it was 2018.
Yes,
19,
it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
We had no GED, and so we said, Laney, we got to get it going. They gave us this little classroom with like 12 seats in it, and we quickly signed up about 45 students.
Little backstory. I know that Diane Chang, who's now our Dean of Counseling, was very instrumental in that, and actually came to me to get it going, and we ended up wrestling a classroom away from career and technical education just to set it up. But what is it like taking something like that that's very much grassroots or seedlings and getting it to grow into a tree?
It's the reason I come to work in the morning. Like, I think it's my job to do that. Like, I feel a great sense of responsibility and passion about being able to do that, being able to provide, the vision as a leader to have things for the people, and then have this awesome, magnificent team that I work with bring it all to fruition. Sometimes I joke with them and say, man, my job is only to think it. Your job is to do it.
The execution, yes. Yeah. No, it's amazing. And you know what? I think OACE's heart's in the right place, because you go to the webpage and the first thing you see is those smiling faces at graduation, and kind of shows that, you start with the end, that you really you look at the goals and everything that you have in mind. Now, among the things we have going, of course, is our banking and finance and the partnership there. You touched on that. Could you tell our listeners a little more about that?
Yes. At Laney College, we have what's called the BankWorks program, and it's an 8-week training course for customer service for banks. And the great thing about it is we have full support of local banks. I won't mention any so that I don't leave any out, but we have the full support of local banks, and they come in and do mock interviews with us, with our students. They're supportive. They're at the graduation, interviewing students right at the graduation. So we have a really high rate of our students that get employed with the banks within 90 days. And one of the best things that I've learned about this in the year or two, I guess it's been about 2 years since we've been doing this, is that the banks really promote from within. So the fact that you may come in as a teller really doesn't mean a lot in terms of how you move up the ladder in the bank. Your previous experience means a lot, and so we often get students that move quickly.
What does up the ladder mean after being a teller? What are the other opportunities?
The other opportunities are being personal bankers, get into investment banking, those kinds of things. There's so many opportunities in the banks, like insurance and this, that, and the other. But you still have your IT and your customer service. You still have all those things, but there's some specialized services that training can help you.
And by the way, there are parts of any company such as HR and other things like
Absolutely.
that exist as well.
Yes.
Kind of thinking of IT, but just also thinking of something that's important in banking is security, particularly cybersecurity. Don't you have a program about?
You mentioned that earlier.
Absolutely.
You mentioned that earlier. Yeah.
cybersecurity?
Absolutely. I don't mind a shameless plug.
There you go.
Hey, we're all about shameless plugs
Right.
here at the President's Desk. Yeah.
Hey, so yes, we in partnership with Love Never Fails IT Biz, we have a cybersecurity program where our students are able to get Cisco certifications for networking, IT desk help, on up to CompTIA certifications, which can catapult you into the software engineering and cybersecurity jobs that are really, really high paying.
Right.
One of the things that, and we laugh, sometimes that we hear this term livable wage, and I'm thinking, no, we need lovable wage. We need
Yes,
people.
we need lovable
We need people to
wages.
love their job. We
I
need
need that.
people. Yeah,
We
we
need
need people to
lovable
have enough
wages.
money to love on their family when after they pay their bills. So we need lovable wages, not just livable wages.
Well, I'm wondering about this payment from KGPC. That's what I'm waiting for.
Hey, Rudy,
Check-
don't get jealous. It's sitting right there on the floor. It's a cup of water.
The check's in the mail, Rudy.
No forwarding address.
I'll find something to take on my way out then.
There we go. No, I'm just kidding. But it's outstanding. I'd like to shift the focus a little bit to you, Mr. Jones. I know, just again, kind of doing a little bit of my homework for this show, I know that's certainly you're no stranger to the area of adult ed, serving both here in Oakland and then over in Contra Costa. But before that, your background was in counseling. Could you tell our listeners a little bit about that experience?
Yes, I have a background in counseling. I have a master's degree from Golden Gate University in psychology. And, counseling was big for me. My background, I went through the streets and homelessness and all those things. And so I often relied on mentors and counselors to help me through the day. But one of the main reasons I became a counselor is, I don't know if it's good or bad, but I didn't appreciate how counselors treated me when I was in school. And so I thought I would be the counselor that treated the kids a little differently. Mm-hmm. And I learned that in order to be successful in school, the kid had to have someone that they trusted wholly. And I thought I would be that counselor that they could trust. And we can really build something, relationship with the kids. But I counseled jails, prisons, homeless shelters, you name it. I've been a counselor there.
If I may say, I just in the time I've gotten to know you, that idea that people can trust you and reach out and work with you and that you're supportive, that certainly comes across, sir, and I just wanted to say that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and then just speaking on counselors, so you feel as though counselors that have experience what these students are going through, make better advisors.
Yeah, I won't say better. What I will say is, if I can identify with being late to school because you had to get the young kid ready.
Yeah.
Right? I can identify with you cutting school because you got to get to work. Right? And so we just have to figure out how to manage those barriers. And one of the things, as I mentioned, with adult education that's a little different is we're asking people to re-engage with a system that's already let them down. And so we have to be prepared to lift them up and provide access to the tools, the resources, the support they need. And we need to recognize when extra support, additional support is paramount to their success. We can't expect our students. I was just thinking this morning about myself. Like, all I think about now is the future. But when I was growing up in Richmond, in Kennedy Manor and Crescent, I needed to do what I need to do right now in this moment, A, to save my life, and B, to eat. And so it was a whole different mentality. And now I'm able to visualize where I'll be years from now. And I'm able to, thankfully, share that to the degree where other people can start to think about what it would be for them.
Kim, is there anything as we kind of close up today that you'd like to tell our listeners, maybe that we haven't touched on about your office and about adult ed in Oakland?
Man. Thank you. That's a good question. I hadn't thought about that. I will say to the listeners that, reach out to Oakland Adult and Career Education, OUSD/OACE.org. We can be reached at 510-879-1400. We love Oakland. I got my GED here in Oakland, man. I used to come on the 72P to the lake on Sundays, right, when black folks used to roller skate and barbecue at the lake every Sunday. And the East Bay Skills Center earn your GED here. And so I'm 15, 16 years old. My mind is made up that on my 18th birthday, I'm coming here to earn my GED, and that's what I did. And so I'm really proud to be in Oakland, and I love Oakland.
No, it's great. And also for our listeners, I believe your website is OUSD.org/OACE.
Yep.
So I passed the test today. That's good
Absolutely,
to know.
man. The first one, at least.
There you go. Excellent. All right. Well, now, just talking with you, sir, you don't seem like you're a stranger to radio. As we close today, can you tell us about your experience with the cans on and the
you
mic?
said you were a DJ.
I DJ private parties and stuff around town, and I've been radio interviews and on TV in front of cameras and stuff like that. It's not really a big deal, as long as I'm prepared to, Now, if we wanted to talk about something outside of my realm where I had to study, then we'd have to postpone this a little bit. But
okay. Well,
I'm pretty comfortable in
we
in
do
this
have a
space.
tradition here on the president's desk, which is known as the return guest. So we hope to have you back sometime.
I
and
would
we
love to
greatly
come
appreciate
back.
it.
I would love to come back and maybe
great.
bring a student with me or
Sure.
Yes,
someone. Yeah, that would be nice.
really
I think
good,
that would
yeah.
be great.
No,
for one of
I
our
know,
students.
Felicia, we've talked about on some programs maybe having, for example, music or theater come in and perform
Yes.
as part of this. Although I will promise you, Felicia, I won't sing
Oh.
if that happens. And
Will you tap
We'd
dance
be
at
happy.
least?
We'll be happy.
Exactly. Exactly.
You don't want me to sing
Well,
either, so I
know, I
won't sing either.
Kim, I am the host of this program, but I'll step outside that role for a second. And just as the president of Laney College, and on behalf of my institution, just thank you for the partnership and for your leadership and all the great things you do for the many adult learners in Oakland.
Thank you very much, and I'd like to thank you. Laney College is very important in what we do, and I want to thank our staff, our awesome administrative staff, and our teachers. They're amazing. So thank you, and the collaboration with Laney College is nothing but getting better.
Thank you very much. And before I bring this thing in for a complete landing, Randy, I want to thank you just for the great work you did today as a co-host.
Thank you.
As we wrap up another edition of the President's Desk, we want to thank our Peralta TV audience, as well as our listeners up and down the great state of California, from as far north as the 717 and the 530, all the way down to SoCal in the 619, as well as our listeners right here in the 510, tuning in from Lake Merritt, Oakland Chinatown, downtown Oakland, West Oakland, East Lake, Fruitvale, Diamond, North Oakland, Adams Point, Central Oakland, East Oakland, the Oakland Hills, Montclair, Piedmont, and of course, those right here at the Laney campus, gearing up for our August 21 start of the semester, listening to us today. As we close up shop at the president's desk, straighten out the desks, straighten out the chairs. We took care of the desk. Let me start over, Felicia. As we close up shop at the president's desk, straighten the chairs and turn the desk light off on today's program, I want to thank my co-host, Felicia Bridges, and ask her to please take us home.
Absolutely. A shout out to Oakland Adult and Career Ed students. Woo. Thank you for tuning in to the President's Desk, a program available on radio, television, and podcast, hosted by Laney College President, Dr. Rudy Besikoff. It airs each Wednesday at 2 a.m. and 2 p.m. on 96.9 KGPC. And viewers can watch the show in its entirety on Peralta Television Sundays at 1 to 2 p.m. To listen anytime, find us on kgpc969.org/current shows, programming, current shows, and click on the President's Desk, or find the show directly at www.kgpc969.org/the President's Desk. Also, to stream video of the show, go to youtube.com and subscribe to the Laney College President's Desk. You can always go to the KGPC YouTube channel as well and click on to the President's Desk. If you have a suggestion for a future show, please email us at laneypio@peralta.edu.